Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So I'm raising my old fitness channel from the dead because I want to get fit again. Since my last video 5 or 6 years ago, I was able to maintain my body weight, and I was able to keep busy as an older person playing disc golf on the weekends. But several years later, today, I've gotten a lot older and a lot less healthy. So in June of this year, I decided to start looking into fitness again, as well as nutrition, and I started working on a plan to go back to the gym and start losing body fat while maintaining my current body weight. I also planned on doing a recomposition diet and an exercise program that worked with it to help me, be a better disc golfer. That's primarily why I'm getting back into fitness, so I can enjoy the sport that I love on the weekends. And really, that's where this channel comes in. I'm starting my fitness journey again, and I'll track it in videos here on this very channel, and you're welcome to subscribe to watch my progress. With that said, after 2 long months of research, I finally have a strategy and the tools to get this going. In this video today, I'm going to detail how I'm going to use a hunger management peptide that also uses fat more efficiently and improves insulin sensitivity and blood sugar control. And here's my disclaimer. I'm not a medical professional, and I'm not advising anyone on how to use this product because it's a research-only chemical. I don't give recommendations on where to get it from, and I'm not giving advice otherwise. This is for entertainment purposes, and I hope you learn from my experience. With that said, I want to shout out 3 people who've led me to my decision to use Retatrutide, or GLP-1 with GIP and glucagon, or in some places they just call it GLP-3. The first is Dr. Trevor Bachmeyer, who made a video that ultimately convinced me to go ahead and try Reta. Second is Olympia competitor Chase Irons, who made a lot of videos covering this topic, and he helped inform me on what to do and when. Lastly, I want to thank Mike, aka Dizzle Matrix, for his ongoing Reta journey on his YouTube channel that ultimately pushed me to document my results here. I do have a few other people I want to shout out, but I'm going to do that in the next video. But these were the first 3 people that I turned to in order to look what I could do in the beginning of using this peptide. So let me preview the topics here. I want to explain why I'm doing this in the first place. I've lost weight before, but why use the peptide now? I'm going to get into that. I'm going to explain how much Reta that I ordered and my planned dosing schedule, and the frequency of these doses, as well as how much I'm going to use per dose. In other words, how much I'm going to titrate up or down. I'll also go over the supplements that I'm using and why I'm not trying any other peptides or anything stronger like TRT or HGH. And I have other topics that I'll cover in other videos, but we're just starting out here in week 0. So why am I doing this? Why have I decided to experiment with a peptide to try and lose body fat? Isn't the gym enough? If you saw my previous video, I did a DEXA scan, which not only told me how much I weighed, 156 pounds, but it also told me how much body fat I have, what my lean mass is, and a lot of other information. But what I've realized that I'm at a healthy body weight, but I have a 24 BMI, and I have 24% body fat. I'm basically skinny fat. I've always had that ectomorph frame, but in the last couple decades, I've lost lean mass and I've gained body fat. And at one point, I've gotten up to 192 pounds, but I was able to claw my way down to 149 pounds and eventually maintained at roughly 155 pounds, give or take, maybe a few pounds more, for several years now. One other thing, I have a history of type 1 and type 2 diabetes in my family, and I believe the excess visceral fat that I have is making it harder for me and my pancreas and liver to work normally. My mother was a type 1 diabetic. She was very brittle. She had to use insulin a lot, and it fluctuated wildly, and ultimately it caused her to die. My father has been a hypoglycemic for all his life, but still lives today. But that family history does influence me and my actions here. But the big reason I'm doing this is I believe this peptide works. These peptides actually work. Many years ago, we really only had things like the ECA stack to lose weight, and that was basically ephedrine, caffeine, and aspirin. And, ephedra was always locked behind the counter, and you couldn't get it unless you had a cold, et cetera, et cetera. And so that was a little bit of a hassle. And honestly, it didn't work like what these peptides and weight loss solutions offer today, like Ozempic, Wegovy, and all these others. But the thing that always struck me funny over the years, over the decades, is that the stuff that really works to help people lose weight, they're just hard to get. Whereas everything that's bad for us, for our health and fitness and everything else, it's in every grocery store, every convenience store. And there's no barrier to break through to get this stuff. Destruction is so much easier than creation, and that's always bothered me here. So real quick, let's go over my DEXA scan. I'm 5'9". And let me put the weights on screen for the weight I had at the DEXA scan and the weight that I had this morning. And tomorrow will be my first injection of Reta, and I'll be documenting all of this similarly. So what's my plan? Well, I ordered a single 10 milligram bottle of Retatrutide for this experiment. I plan to start low and go slow. My goal is 1 video a week until I run out of the bottle. Then I'll give a status report after using it all up, essentially on what I plan to do next. I haven't decided at this time. I'm going to see this experiment through, but I do know this. I'm not going to do this forever. I will eventually titrate off to where I'm not using Reta at all. I just don't know exactly when. But right now, odds are high that at the end of this bottle, that's it. And one thing I want to make clear, I have no intention of becoming a skeleton or shredded. The lowest that I want to get to is about 12% body fat, but that wouldn't happen at a healthy weight range right now. It'd be approximately 125 pounds. But I do have an absolute hard cap of 135 pounds of body weight and no lower. If I reach that somehow, I'm going to stop any sort of weight loss movement in that direction, try to maintain, and then go from there. And at the end of this journey, I'll have a video reflecting on it and going over the lessons that I learned and what I would have done differently. I'm training myself to manage hunger so I can function normally off Reta. That's the primary goal of doing this. I want to use it for its benefits, and then I want to get off it so I can operate normally. I'm not interested in seeing how heavy a dose I can take to lose as much weight as fast as possible. I want my body to work better. And part of what informs me of that decision is I see a lot of these videos online where people talk about they get on these GLPs for a long time and then they lose their appetite suppression. I see that in the comments too. And they still get side effects. I want to avoid that trap of experiencing the negatives of peptides and not the benefits, or having that largely neutered by the side effects. I don't want to go through that experience. So I am planning on being able to live without Reta and not taking other supplements. But for now, I'm at a healthy weight, but I have too much body fat as it is. And one thing has always been true about fat loss, it's quicker than muscle gain. And I want to gain the benefits of being lean and then work on building muscle. I have a destination, but I'm not in a hurry. It's a journey, not a race. So Reta is a tool that I'm using to help me reach my goals, but it's not the only thing I'm using. I'm also using diet and exercise. Normally I'd try to diet down without any of this assistance, like caffeine and creatine and stuff like that. But this time I don't have that luxury. I want to jumpstart my fitness with Reta. So now let me detail my plan just a little bit. So I intend to eat 2 meals a day, and after the last meal of the day, that is when I'll take Reta. And so I'm going to basically microdose. So originally I was going to do 1 milligram a week, with weeks 1 and 2 being 1 milligram, and then dose up to 2 milligrams for weeks 3, 4, and 5, and then back down to 1 milligram for 6 and 7. So originally this is going to be a roughly 6-week experiment, but I'm willing to play it by ear depending upon how I feel using this peptide. So the third topic I want to cover is what else will I take? In other words, why am I not stacking other peptides? Why am I not taking anything like TRT or any sort of testosterone or any other hormones? And the reason why is I believe the true purpose of experimentation is seeing through that experiment without complicating it. So the one thing I'm taking is Reta, and it's going to be consistent throughout. I'm not going to supplement it with additional things of that strength. I will be eating 2 meals daily, as I've mentioned. I'll be taking a multivitamin. This is the one that I take once a day. That'll be either in the late morning or early, maybe around noon, whenever my lunch is, the first meal of the day. And then the second meal of the day, I won't take that. I'm also going to drink a caffeinated beverage in the morning. And for me, that's, of course, a Monster Energy Silver. I love these things. And that's what I'll be drinking, 1 or 2 of those based on how I'm feeling in the morning. And I wanted to mention that my hard cap for caffeine has been 4 p.m. for years now, several years, but I don't expect to be drinking that late in the day. One other supplement that I'm taking is creatine. So I got this creatine monohydrate. I pour 5 milligrams of it into a drink mix like cherry or strawberry watermelon or something like that. Put it in a blender bottle and then mix that up, and then I'll just drink that. So I'll drink my caffeinated beverage in the morning and then this throughout the rest of the day, unless I get something else like I got turned on recently to something called Bay. These are potassium. They have a little bit of potassium in there. I have a history of calf cramps, so, but that's like, you know, not something I'll be doing daily. And last but not least, because I am an insomniac, which will be interesting to see how Retta reacts with that, is I'll be taking a couple, you know, over-the-counter sleep aids like melatonin and diphenhydramine, which is your sleep aid or generic at Walmart or, you know, whatever. So I already do all these things. I'm not going to stop doing them while I'm running this experiment. But these are going to be sort of the baseline of what I'm doing, pretty consistent every day. And then on top of that, the Retta once a week or whatever. And one thing I want to mention is I have no known allergies. I've never been allergic to anything. And the last doctor I saw a few months ago gave me a clean bill of health. And I'm taking a conservative approach here. That's why I'm pretty confident in how this is going to go. But the bottom line is I'm just not interested in stacking anything else with what I'm doing unless somehow I, you know, stall and I can't make any more progress, but I don't think that'll happen for a while. And really, I would still wait until outside this experimental period with this one bottle and go from there. So that's going to wrap it up for this video. I tried to keep it as short as I could. I have a bunch of notes that I'm referencing here so that I don't meander too long. And I think this is enough information for everyone for now. In my next video, it's going to come out in about a week. I'm going to go over my first week's foray into using Retta for my fat loss journey. I hope you'll subscribe to the channel and watch what I have in store. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.